trust it though, because every time we say we're live, I go back and I check the recording afterwards, and then it cuts out a big chunk in the middle. So if you are actually seeing this on Twitch, X, or YouTube, then hello, welcome to the chat. Send your questions in there. I'm just going to post into the community, and we're just going to check all the links to make sure they're working. Holly, if you can do that in the background. How's everyone's day going? Let us know in the chat. Okay, I think we're good. I think that's live. Just checking YouTube one more time. If you are, yeah, we're good. Right, guys, thank you for joining us today. We are accompanied by the very delightful Cal and Charlie from Qogita. So how are you doing, Charlie?
I was hoping to have an adjective like delightful associated with my introduction, but I'm happy to move past that.
Well, I was going to say Charlie here likes long walks in the beach and finding that special someone to get the sand between his toes.
I'll take that.
How are you doing today, Cal?
Not too bad. Not too bad, man. We're grinding.
So Cal is a last minute addition into this call because we had planned to demo our software today with the Qogita integration, and typical fashion for running your own business, we've got last minute database updates that are pushing through. Yeah. So basically this entire call is going to be a nice stall to see how it goes there.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Charlie, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, mate?
Sure. So yeah, Charlie, as you can see in my little card here, I'm the Senior Growth Manager at Qogita. So my main role is customer acquisition and making sure there's new customers who come into the business are spending money and stick with us for the long haul. And also, I guess, working a lot with those customers to get any feedback on problems they've had or how we can improve their experience. So yeah, Qogita is trying to get better every day. So I think I'm kind of can be the mouthpiece from working on trying to scale things with, I guess, yeah, the other end of closing that loop. And then a bit about me. I'm originally from Sydney in Australia, and yeah, living in Amsterdam and loving it here.
Where does the name Qogita actually come from?
Great question. So it's actually some etymology for the nerds out there, which I count myself among. And it's derived from Latin cogito or cogitare, which means to think. And our founders were kind of obsessed with that word as kind of a motto. So they kind of did a spin-off out of that. But ironically, I'm not sure if they were thinking that much when they named it, because the name is very hard to, when you say Qogita, you don't naturally know how it's meant to look, which just makes things more difficult when you're kind of marketing for people to kind of understand how to type it into Google perhaps and make it memorable.
I'm sure Zach Galifianakis had the same problem when he was giving his Hollywood name, but everyone knows his name, so.
It's true. There is a kind of infamy that can be associated with it too. So it's so difficult to remember that it becomes impossible to forget.
For sure, yeah, it certainly stands out. So guys, the purpose of this call today is for you to ask us any questions you want about Qogita, Amazon Wholesale, Amazon FBA in general. We can just have a general chit chat as well. It's been a while since we've spoken to Qogita, and we're big advocates for them because, Cal, are you comfortable saying how much you spent on Qogita in the last probably 2 or 3 months?
Yeah, so it's been a steady pace. I mean, I do pick my deals very carefully. I think it was around 44,000, 50,000, something around that mark. Probably aiming to spend another 15K or so this month towards the end of the month. So yeah, it's been a great little income earner, obviously for Amazon sellers and for myself. But yeah, you just got to get fast with those deals, and that's where hopefully the software will, alleviate some of those things.
For sure. So yeah, hopefully during this call we'll do some demoing of Qogita, give you some tips that you might not have been aware of. I think Cal and I are probably more likely to give you the tips on what to avoid maybe. Jay, yeah, absolutely, ask questions. This is a live Q&A, so please do. We're going to be lost in the dark without questions. Okay, so Charlie, this is a good question for you. Why don't you give us a summarization of what Qogita is and what it's trying to do?
Of course. So Qogita is a marketplace. So when I explain what it is now, I guess my default is it's like Amazon, like a marketplace connecting suppliers and buyers, but it's not B2C, it's B2B. So it's connecting wholesalers and brands and then distributors to basically the retail layer. And I guess our mission is to make improve wholesale trade and make it seamless, because as an industry, it hasn't really evolved a lot with the times. It's still very antiquated and rigid in the distribution systems and bottlenecks, and that creates all sorts of kind of problems for different kind of retailer personas and also brands that are looking to scale. So yeah, I guess we're trying to solve a lot of exciting problems in that space. I guess broadly as our mission, but then in terms of like the value that we offer, in terms of currently when you look at Qogita, it's similar to why Amazon's so great in a marketplace where you just have the selection of 500 suppliers, 50 brands, all of that, their offers in one place. So you have enormous selection, really consistent prices across the board, and then everything that we try and build around that in terms of like a service and support offering, to make sure everyone has a fantastic experience along the way.
I could not agree more. So in the back end, one thing I've been working hard on, I really like the I really like the wholesale model on Amazon, because in my opinion, the best way to do it properly is to develop the relationship with the supplier. And you would be amazed how many wholesalers and distributors you talk to who don't even want to accept Amex, even if they bake in the fee into the price. And I'm like, guys, you're trying to market to Amazon sellers. That's the game. Everyone's on that. So it does sometimes feel like it's no disrespect to anyone in that industry, but it does feel like it's boomers asleep at the wheel a lot of the time, where it's just like rife for innovation. So I think you guys are doing an incredible job at being the ones to do that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It's it's a very funny industry, and I think the more I kind of get into it, the more I realize that what we're doing is actually quite disruptive and hopefully can unlock a lot of value. But yeah, not just Amazon sellers, but all sorts of players within the space.
For sure. So I'm going to come to that question a bit later. So someone's just asked in the group, just to dive straight in, I've seen you've updated your invoices to better comply with Amazon on gating. Have you had any results with this?
So I think, as with anything with Amazon, there's a few things to note. I think the most important one is philosophically, like, we're on the side of Amazon sellers and we're always working to try and build things to make things better, rather than I feel like a lot of suppliers who just discount their Amazon sellers or don't want to help. So I hope everyone out there understands that, yeah, we are doing our best, and even if things don't work every single time, we do try, and I feel like it is an inevitable part of Amazon. But yeah, so I think we saw that there were improvements that we could hopefully make to our invoices in terms of making all of the supply information way more obvious and clear, to make anybody who's checking it for ungating or authenticity purposes, it much more clear that like, this is a verified supplier, and here's their information if you want to then contact them. And I think sometimes you've got to give the Amazon people who are doing the ungating the benefit of the doubt, that they have to make decisions in a few seconds. So the more obvious and clear you can make the supplier's information, the more chance you hopefully have of getting accepted. And also doing things like improving the design of the invoice to make them seem, I guess, it more clear that it's, because we have like a supplier invoice that's like a self-billing invoice, because the chain of suppliers, the buyer purchases from Qogita and Qogita purchases from the supplier. And so there's an invoice from the buyer to Qogita and then Qogita to the supplier. But just make it a lot more clear how that chain of supply works, and tracing it really obviously back to these large whitelisted suppliers, official distributors and brands. And hopefully that can make the process or improve the process. So that's basically some of the changes. But to answer the question directly, we're very keen to hear how it does go. And we have, I think the really important thing that's changed is finally we've gotten connected with someone inside Amazon who can actually kind of give us some feedback and let us know. But I think everyone who's selling on Amazon knows that it is a bit of a game getting ungated. It's never guaranteed. You need to do your diligence. And nowhere is, my brother works at Amazon, but he works in like a different department. So even he's not sure, but people in Amazon Marketplace, even they do not know the decision making. Sometimes it's so segregated, the people who are in charge, and sometimes the decision making is so unclear. So yeah, we're trying our best. We've got like a feedback loop now, but yeah, nothing is ever guaranteed. There's always going to be an element of uncertainty.
Yeah, I warn people all the time. If you buy something from Qogita and the ungate doesn't work, that is not Qogita's fault. That is Amazon seller support doing what they do best, which is probably rejecting an application without actually reading it. And the example I always give is I had a Lego product with a Lego invoice, and they said, this is not a proof of correct supply chain. You know, I was like, I'm buying it from Lego. What are you talking about?
The one that I saw recently was that someone was doing like A2A, like Amazon to Amazon sourcing. And so the invoice that they gave was from Amazon to Amazon, and it got rejected.
Yeah.
I think that's the all-time like case that highlights what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a, not really a conspiracy theory, but there's a little bit of a theory that the people who review the applications, they get negatively critiqued if they approve the wrong invoice. So if they just reject everything by default, their job is safer essentially. So
I think that makes total sense, right? If they say no to everything, they can never be wrong. But if they say yes to something that's someone's selling some dodgy like fakes from China or somewhere, then they could get in trouble. So yeah. But I guess that is another point that people should also be aware of, how to get ungated. And there's lots of tactics and strategies that you can use to like just keeping on resubmitting, keep trying. And that there's all sorts of techniques. We've got a bunch of them on our help center. And if you join communities like Sell Smart, like there'll be people in there that can guide you. And those tactics definitely do work over time. And another one that I've been hearing recently is sometimes I think, because it's always been you need 10 units to ungate. There's been a bit of a trend that you kind of need 100 units to ungate certain brands. So that's also, I think, a change that I've noticed. I've got feedback from Amazon contact that's also a thing that people should be aware of. So yeah, it's something you just need to do your research on, really.
Yeah, this is something that was in America quite a long time ago, but just like America's political problems, it always comes to England eventually. And it's so important to anyone listening to this. Don't buy anything without checking Seller Central first, without doing your product analysis first, because Seller Central will tell you how many units you need to see on the invoice. And yeah, you just got to be careful there. We got another question. Where does you source your products from? So where do you source your products from?
Yeah, where does you? So Qogita, so it's more that we're the marketplace. So technically we don't hold any stock, so we don't do any sourcing. But in terms of the suppliers that we work with, I think the important thing to note is all of our suppliers are based in the EU and the UK. So anything you order will basically come from there, except that we have now started to work directly with some brands in the UAE, and also we're in contact, or not just in contact, we're starting to work with ones in Korea. The only thing blocking us from those is with the Korean one is we're still building the logistical capabilities, but they're basically online in terms of deals done. And so if there can be orders that are coming directly from the brands outside of Europe, but nothing that is coming from outside Europe is not coming from the brands.
I actually, when I was doing some sourcing on Qogita the other day, I noticed loads of Beauty of Josian products, and I wondered if you guys were going to American suppliers and bringing them here, or going direct to Korea.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely not going to America.
No. So just a little bit about Qogita in general. You guys are VC backed, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and
And
yeah, we very fortunate to have some really strong investors who really believe in what we're doing in all around. I think we've got some good ones in Silicon Valley who also backed I think like Facebook and Spotify and these kind of apps. So some pretty good pedigree.
yeah, I mean that says it all, doesn't it? If you've got investors like that on board. I know I was talking to Fiona from Qogita the other day, and she said you guys have almost 200 employees now, which is incredible for a startup.
It's crazy, yeah. Because when I started a couple of years ago, it was more like 50. So it is pretty crazy. My brother's actually going to join too, so
Is he?
it's going to be really exciting having his expertise here.
I remember when I met you quite a while ago now, you told me about your brother, and I was like, you got an inside man. That's how you know you're going to do well.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm sure he's going to bring across a wealth of knowledge from what he's done at Amazon to helping us scale.
For sure. So you said you have a contact at Amazon now. Are you allowed to say who that is or how you managed to get that?
Nah, well, he's in Amazon marketplaces. So this Amazon,
Right.
this is so many different like departments. They're separate companies like Amazon Web Services, Amazon Logistics, Amazon Shipping. Like there's just so many. Like just the store itself. So there are just yeah, I guess there's such segregation between all the different kind of I don't even know the word. I don't have the vocabulary to describe what each of those is. But yeah, no, he's from Amazon Italy, and he basically reached out to us because yeah, I think he saw like that we could create some that I think he was more thinking, can I get some Amazon sellers onboarded from these guys? Because we're also working with last night I did a webinar with TikTok, which was really cool. Working with Bowl, working with like Walmart in the US. We've had meetings with like a lot of the marketplaces want to work with us because we basically serve the same customer base. Where we have marketplace sellers, they obviously have people then selling on their marketplaces, but we don't compete. So it was more of like a partnership discussion, similar to what we've done with other marketplaces. But because most of our sellers are on Amazon, it was by far the most exciting one for me.
Yeah, for sure. That actually leads nicely onto the question I wanted to ask. What's your percentage of marketplaces?
So I think there's two. You should break that question down into two parts, which is the percentage in terms of raw numbers of customers, but then percentage in terms of like the actual transactional volume. So I think in raw numbers, it's probably more like above 70%. But then in terms of actual total transactional volumes, probably, I think it was like somewhere between 40 to 50. So it's still significant and we do care about it. It's probably like our biggest chunk, but we really do have a lot of different buyer personas that purchase from us, from an Amazon seller just getting started up to like multi-billion-dollar enterprise customers. And I think that's really exciting because it shows, I guess, the opportunity that if we can create so much value for so many different people, then the more we learn about these different personas, we can, I think, we optimize each one individually, and there's a lot of growth potential.
For sure. I think you guys have adopted the Amazon ethos, I guess, around customer support as well, because everyone I know who's had issues and gone to Qogita, you can't really fault you guys when it comes to support. You do a really good job there.
Yeah, I don't know if I fully agree. I feel like we can get better, but no, we what I would agree on is we do our absolute best, and if yeah, I think we've got a really good support team, and like we are really active, and by far I always hear about the kind of the minority who have been hard done by, and then because their voice is usually the loudest. But I think if I look at the satisfaction scores overall, they definitely do like a really good job. But yeah, I think as ever, like we're always looking to improve, and I think yeah, we're really going to focus just on everything we can do to improve buyer experience, especially heading into Q4, which is the most important time for everyone in wholesale.
Yeah, for sure. So I got another question from Jay. How do you pay your suppliers?
So the suppliers basically just get like they list their products on Qogita and then get the same as if they were selling through another channel, where they're like a channel for them. For some of our suppliers, where like their entire operation, for some we're like 50%, for some we're like 10%, but they're basically just listing their, like, whether it's, they also have like other contracts with other like businesses, or however the suppliers have set up their distribution. We're it's basically another sales channel for them, so they just get paid when they sell goods to our customers.
For sure. And the follow-up comment, I assume Qogita is involved in the import and export and foreign currency.
We don't really do any importing or exporting. Like, the only one would be, I guess, between the UK and the EU. I don't know if that counts as, like import export. So that obviously does happen. And as I said, we're working with these brands in Dubai and Korea. But I guess that's also a bit beyond my expertise in terms of how that specifically works logistically. There's now teams that have been set up to operationalize that. I wouldn't say, beyond that, we're not really involved in import, export, and like foreign dealings. We're very much focused on Europe and UK.
So a lot of people who get into wholesale at a beginner stage actually pursue brand direct wholesale relationships with smaller brands, just because if you don't have 30 grand to put on an order, it's far easier to go to a mum and pop business where you can have much smaller MOVs, minimum order values. So you said you're going to brands directly. I always thought your relationship was mostly with wholesalers and distributors. Does that mean you're going to be working with brands who don't mind third-party sellers buying from Qogita and selling on Amazon?
Yeah. So originally, like, our core value is still like all of the suppliers and distributors. It is again, like, not my expertise, because I know the brands team. It is very relationship based, and how the brands, how much they care about controlling their distribution and controlling the pricing versus allowing it to be like more relaxed, maybe relaxed in this country, not that country. Like, you can work with our distributor there. Here, like, we're happy to work alongside our it is complicated and relationship based. I think in principle, there's never going to be like a Chanel is never going to allow us to just be distributing, because they want to control all of their distribution and all of their pricing, basically. I guess, so we're being strategic about which brands are really popular, selling really well, and that are also open to, they want to grow. And there's also ways that we can help those brands grow and distribute into Europe, reach all the retailers and resellers in our ecosystem. And that's a really exciting value proposition for those particular brands.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so are all the suppliers based overseas? I think you've kind of covered that. You mostly focus on EU, and you're branching out to Korea and the UAE. There was Dubai as well, did you say?
Yeah, but like only brands. Yeah, like all of our suppliers, I would say all the suppliers are based in Europe. Except these direct brand partnerships.
So that's an interesting one then. When you get all these UAE connections set up, is the estimated delivery times going to be much longer? Is it going to be similar to the EU?
Yeah, so I think that's actually I should do my homework. But I think if people want to order directly from the brand in the UAE, then there is like an option where they can do a kind of bulk order at a certain and it is an extended delivery time. That is something now we are offering in the platform, where people can do I think they're called I don't know if it's pre-orders or extended delivery time orders that if they are happy to wait and are confident that demand's going to kick in future, they can get, like, by quite a few percentage points, if they find the right deal, better prices by going from the brand, or and being able to wait 3 to 4 weeks. But a lot of suppliers, speed is so important and one of the main things that we can offer. So it very much depends on, I guess, the individual retailer's strategy and approach.
Yeah, fair. I asked because I've done a fair amount of purchasing from China, and depending on how you get it, if you get it by air travel, you get it within 3 or 4 weeks, but it's extortionate in price in comparison to doing it by boat. But by boat takes 3 months. So I wondered how you guys were going to handle that.
Yeah. I'm not an expert whatsoever, but I think probably like, yeah, because there's dangerous goods as well, often like with perfume. So maybe it is by boat. Yeah, but yeah, as I said, I'm definitely not the expert in that area, but it would be good to get feedback because it is something new that we've launched, and I guess we do want to know kind of how people would respond to extended delivery times, and if it's something that if they can get like 10-20% better prices, that they are happy to wait the 3 to 6 weeks, whatever it is, or if speed is just more important when it's in those delivery timeframes.
For sure. To anyone who is out there, please do ask questions while you're here. But I just wanted to give you a personal story about why we like to push Qogita, where when I first got into wholesale on Amazon, it took me 2 months of 12 hours a day on my laptop finding suppliers that would actually work with me. Anyone out there who has tried wholesale, you'll find that a lot of people don't want to work with Amazon sellers. So literally the only reason I managed to get such a good relationship with this guy is because I recognized his accent. I could tell he was Venezuelan. My partner's Venezuelan, so I spoke to him in absolutely god-awful Spanish. And Venezuelans like to help each other out, so he decided to work with us. In comparison, when I used Qogita for the first time, I found my first profitable product in an hour, and it arrived, I think it was either next day or 2 days later. So I was like, good grief, these guys are going to be big. And it's been amazing to see how it's grown over time, how Quiggies has developed. Very excited to see where you end up in the next 5 years if you're trying to be the wholesale Amazon of the world.
Yeah, that's lovely feedback to hear, to be honest. And I guess, that is exciting because we're only focused on health and beauty now, and there's so much still to grow in there, but then we could also start introducing other categories. It's something that's being considered strategically because we are looking at doing another round of fundraising. And I guess, whether we want to kind of increase the kind of scale of operations in health and beauty and double down there, or like we want to open up new categories. It is interesting. There's just a lot of potential.
Yeah.
I've got about 30 quid in my wallet. Will that get me into the shares?
Yeah. I think I'm not going to say no.
So where are all of your customers based? Obviously that's going to be spread out, so you got an idea of roughly what it is?
Yeah, our biggest markets are probably the UK and Germany, and then all the major European markets like Italy, Spain, France, Netherlands, even Greece now is rising. Especially there's some bigger customers in some of those markets that spend like hundreds of thousands per month. Even there's one in Switzerland that spends millions a month, which is pretty insane. So there is kind of pretty there's distribution all throughout Europe, but UK and Germany are the biggest.
That makes sense, given that the UK and Germany are some of the bigger Amazon platforms. Only behind the US, I think.
Yeah, indeed.
What are your plans for the US?
Oh yeah, and that's the other expansion option, like geographically. So there's like categories like within health and beauty, and then geographically, because Qogita originally started in the US as well, and it was in Australia where I'm from. But then I think it was just way too fragmented and all over the shop, and they had to wind back. But I think the quest was to prove that it works just in Europe in one category. And then if that's true, then I think there's, again, like huge potential to take it into the US. I know there's I think there's kind of similar things that are popping up over there as well. I think in different categories though. So yeah, to answer the question directly, there's no plans now, but there's opportunity.
Nice.
I know there was some guys who made billions by finding really successful businesses in other countries and then just starting that business in their country before it came there. Like they did their own eBay. So I wonder if that's what's happening to Qogita. Now people have seen it's working.
Well, yeah, I'd like to think that, you know, we can lay claim to the first and everyone else is copycats. But yeah, that'll always happen until the end of time.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's the nature of business, isn't it? We're a competitive bunch.
Precisely. Yeah.
So I'm not really sure how you would answer this question, but who deals with the finances for the business?
Yeah, we have a finance team. I sometimes get in trouble with them for spending too much money on, because I guess marketing is, you know, a big thing that we do push. You would have seen our ads everywhere. But yeah, we have a full finance team that is responsible for making sure that all the numbers make sense and we're growing sustainably, because that's the equation that matters for us. Because we're happy to spend money on marketing, but so long as the value that's coming back to Qogita is greater than the money that we're spending to acquire customers, that's kind of the calculus of our growth, so to say. And I guess that's why we don't only care about, I guess, new people coming to join and place their first order. That's really important, but also hoping that they stay and grow and spend more and more on the platform. And that's why we care a lot about buyer experience and listening to their feedback. And we're always trying to increase the liquidity, bring on more suppliers, bring on more brands to mean there's more opportunity for people to stay and make money from buying from the platform.
It's the marketing machine is, if you found an ATM where you put in £1 and it gave you £2 back, you would do it indefinitely, wouldn't you, until it ran dry? So that's what you got to do with marketing.
Yeah, maybe that's our new positioning.
Interesting. So are you able to share your screen today and walk us through some Qogita demos?
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Let me see if I can get my screen.
Just in case I didn't say it already, guys, if you haven't signed up to Qogita or placed an order, we've got a link in our bio. Is it you get €100 off your first order?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And how does that work if the pricing is in pounds?
So it'll just convert to pounds. So it'll be like £86 or something. Yeah, we had a bit of back to the finance team. We had some kind of accounting problems in terms of like pounds versus euros, and I think we were spending a bit too much on I guess coupon codes and giving out a lot of like discounts. So that was basically why we standardized to €100 across the board.
What can I say? The pound is still the king. too powerful.
For now.
For now. Okay, so yeah, guys, if you haven't bought anything from Qogita or you haven't signed up, you can use the link in the bio and get €100 off your first order if you sell a Smart 100. Charlie, I'll leave it with you if you want to demo any of the features.
Yeah, so here's Qogita. You can see the health and beauty, or it's kind of beauty and personal care, I think is the better category name. Maybe I should change that, but marketplace. So we got.
Can you zoom in slightly?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we got 500 vetted suppliers. You can read about our supplier vetting process if you like. We have a marketing page on it. Over 10,000 brands. I think there's a lot more than that now. We'll probably update that number. And yeah, 500,000 products. And yeah, so it kind of looks like a normal e-commerce platform where you can see the brands, the categories that we have. And yeah, I think just something to note. We're always kind of updating our branding and design to make the platform more usable. So we're actually doing an overhaul of like our brand page to make it way more discoverable. So that should be coming, but probably in Q1 now. We were working on it just before Q4 hit, but once Q4 hits, it's kind of all hands on deck on like what's going to help kind of drive the most immediate growth. So Yeah, and then down here you can see categories, brands, and yeah, I think yeah, these categories in particular, or subcategories of brands, we can see are in particular very popular. So, if you're not sure on what to buy, probably worth doing some research into some of these. If not, just using, there's lots of tools out here, like in one Seller Smart's working on, which can also help guide you towards what are good things to buy. And then dive into the catalog. So I think in terms of finding good products to sell, really experienced sellers will kind of, I guess, understand the niches and the brands that they operate in and really know what they want to buy, and kind of have a demand-driven approach where they look at kind of what's selling on TikTok, or they're looking at kind of trends for what goes crazy in Q4. Because if you look at any keeper chart on like fragrances in Q4, you'll see that things do really go crazy, and you can make you can probably get some really good deals by stocking up now that you can then take advantage of in October, November. But I think in terms of finding profitable products, it basically starts with, this is the catalog. You can filter the catalog by, I think the most important thing to make sure you have filtered on is just here, we have a filter to only show products with basically supply traceability, which means we can provide invoices to prove chain of supply if you need to do so to Amazon for ungating, but in particular authenticity claims. Like we value helping buyers challenge authenticity claims very highly, because we know that can be a big hit on account health, or even account deactivations and all that. Like, so we understand like the risk there, and because all of our products come from vetted sources, we want to be able to help buyers prove that to Amazon. So it is, I think, very important to have this filter on if you do want to sell on Amazon. And sometimes people ask, why do you have suppliers that don't offer this? It is because, back to an earlier point I made, we have lots of buyers who don't sell on Amazon, and that don't need to prove chain of supply, and they're happy with our vetting process. They've purchased from us plenty before, and when you do filter down the catalog with this, you will lose some offers, you will lose some things that are profitable. So if you don't need to sell on Amazon, then you don't need to have this on. And you can obviously choose where you want to source from as well. So that's kind of important filters to clarify. But then,
any more newbies out there to Amazon? Q4 is the most crazy time for sales. You really, really, really need to prepare now. Like, arguably, you should have started at the start of this month, really. But Q4 is nuts. So I can imagine for Qogita, I imagine it's absolute chaos.
Yeah, we grew like 2.5 times from September to November last year, and that was we'd already grown a lot to September. So it was a lot. It's probably the most fun I've ever had in working in a place where you just feel the market pull you. Yeah, I'm hoping for a rinse and repeat. That'd be amazing.
So Maximilian's just said, yeah, I'm new. So, mate, to give you an example, I've got a friend who only works during Q4 and then he just coasts the rest of the year. So it shows you, when you've got the capital behind you and you know how to source properly, it's a hell of a time to be a seller.
Yeah. If I was selling, I would sell, like, I'd start selling now, and then probably, once it hits Christmas, obviously sell out your stock, but then rest of the year, it is you have to be much more disciplined. There's so much opportunity at this time of year, especially in like fragrances and a lot of health, like beauty, personal care categories.
So I talk to a lot of people. So we have a coaching and mentorship program, and I speak to a lot of people who are kind of umming and ahhing about whether they should start selling on Amazon. And I always say to those people, even if you don't work with us directly, start selling now so you can get in for Q4. Like, I'm telling you, get in for Q4 and just experience it. And yeah, it will change your life.
Yeah, genuinely. I think just for anyone new, because there are like lots of things you need to know about selling on Amazon. You just have to either have a mentor or join communities, because they'll help you avoid making these mistakes where even if you're coming into it with £500 you want to spend, and then you buy a brand that's just never going to get ungated on, then it's going to be very demotivating. But yeah, so that's probably my biggest advice to anyone new. And make sure you have that filter on for supply traceability. And the reason why you would need that would be obvious once you join these communities. Yeah, so we've introduced these new filters recently, like for Korean beauty. So you can kind of, we have these tags. We'll be doing this more and more. So you can filter the product or the catalog by these products, which is pretty cool. And then in terms of finding profitable products, probably the best way is to download the catalog as a CSV. So you can download the full catalog, like everything, or just a filtered version of the catalog. And you can see the Korean skincare or Korean beauty filter is applied here. You can also choose to have offers with 3 to 8 weeks included or not. And then once you have the catalog, then you can, you upload it with various scanning tools, or you can go through these filtered categories yourself just in Excel. You can build your own. We have a public API which you can try and connect to if you're feeling so brave. And yeah, that's probably like a good way to just easily map products to what's the Amazon prices, see what's selling well. Then kind of going into, I guess, an individual product page to show you around. You can see here that the price history chart, that prices on Qogita aren't just flat, they're dynamic, and they change as our supply changes. It is a dynamic marketplace. So you can see back here it was £7.51, and here it's it's actually like quite cheap, so it could be quite a good time to buy. And we actually have an integration with BuyBot Pro as well, so you can check things on I guess while you're on Amazon, so you can see the difference in price.
Question I have. So if the price is declining like that on Amazon, that's a sign that there's a lot of supply over demand. So is that the same on Qogita?
It's a good question. I feel like that's classic market dynamics, right? Where it's Adam Smith's invisible hand, supply and demand. Maybe are you talking about this particular pattern of steady decline?
Yeah, if you see that on Keeper on Amazon, it's usually because the offer count is going up, so the price is going down. So I'm just wondering if a really cheap price on this product is actually a warning sign that maybe there's a lot of supply, which means it could be quite competitive.
Yeah, well, it does have a lot. We do have a lot of supply here. You can see we've got thousands of units in stock from these suppliers. So yeah, maybe we do clearly have really good coverage on Korean skincare at the minute.
It sells so fast though, doesn't it? It sells so quickly.
Yeah, no, we did a like in the webinar yesterday with TikTok. The opportunity they were presenting there is enormous, like how these brands are growing, and it's still like a huge gap in kind of the supply of these on a lot of marketplaces. So and I think then given we have a lot of these brands in stock, we do become a pretty good solution if you want to do your research into those. There was something to note here. We got feedback that people wanted to know when kind of supplier reviews or ratings is another new feature that we built, because we obviously really care about making sure things are delivered fast, they arrive, like everything's like neat, there's no issues with the order, because occasionally things can go wrong, like the logistics company drops the box of perfumes when they're putting them on the truck and everything smashes, and then things can go wrong. It's unlikely, and like you'll be fully compensated and get your money back when it does happen, but there are kind of I guess if you have a fantastic experience with the supply, everything's packed so perfectly and everything came really quickly, you might be like, that was fantastic experience, I would rather pay a bit more to go with the supplier that's of that quality again. So we just basically wanted to give some kind of feedback on, we're really happy with how these suppliers are performing from a buyer experience perspective. Doesn't mean the other ones are bad. Maybe they're just like newer, or maybe they've had one claim which has ruined their rating, but they're actually reliable. But just something to note that we are trying to give that feedback. And you can also see here we've introduced tiered pricing where, this supplier's MOV might be, obviously that's not competitive up here when you compare that to this price, but this is an example where if you wanted to buy a larger amount from that supplier, then you could get like quite a nice discount. And there would be other products where that would be on the lowest priced offer, and it could be quite attractive. So we are trying to give lots of different options, trying to really like leverage and unlock the value in our supply network to be like, here's all the offers that you can get, and the value that you can basically create for yourself. But yeah, that's more or less the
very good feature.
Yeah,
I use that a lot for my business at the minute, and it's really good.
This.
Yeah, the price alert function. So there was a deal the other day that was around £8, and I got it for £2. Supplier had 4,000 in stock, and
Wow.
it was a ridiculous deal. I mean, we sold. I'm trying to remember how many it was. I think we sold 1,000 units in just under a week, all for FBA, and it was like the margin was crazy on it. So I'm just monitoring that price alert function now for literally all of the deals that I buy through Qogita at the minute.
Yeah, so it is a great function. So you can add a price alert directly from a product page. Say you wanted to buy this, the lowest price is 5.88. Maybe when it gets to like 5.6, and then a quantity of 10, and then you can add that to your watch list, where basically you can come up here to check your watch list, and this shows all your current price alerts, and then you can basically add a filter at any point, see all the products that you have on your watch list that have their target price met, and then add them like straight to your cart. So so this is a really great feature that can help you buy. And I know a lot of Amazon sellers like to buy price drops, because that's when there's like a particularly good deal, some stocks just come in, and this can kind of help you uncover those. So as soon as this price alert is met, you'll get an email that basically says, and you can come to the platform and hopefully get a great deal. And the other thing you can do is you can, if we empty the watch list. I don't have one prepared. Maybe I do. Bear with me. Do I have like a CSV to upload? I thought maybe I might from a while back. Well, if I do, I can't see it. But yeah, you can upload a list as a CSV of all the products basically you're looking at. So if you're actually like an online retailer, like they sometimes have price lists of all the things they want and target prices, and they can just upload this straight in here, and immediately they'll be able to see all the products where we have good pricing, and then they can purchase that straight away. So that's also a really good tool to help you find good deals, which is obviously what you want to do. But yeah, I think that's more or less an overview. You can, when you want to check out, you can pay for good. You can pay using as Sean said, with credit card, debit card. If you have an established business, you will qualify for Mondu, which is our credit provider, and you can get 30 days credit with 0 fees, which is fantastic. But they do some kind of risk check, so you do need to kind of show some level of history of your business that you are not going to default on them. So
does Mondu give you the 30-day limit and then allow you to pay with Amex, so it extends it by that billing date?
That is not a question I can answer, unfortunately.
I think it's just through the bank transfer. What I've seen.
Okay.
But what I have noticed is the limit started off quite low, but then as soon as you pay it back, it just goes crazy. So you can really, get your money's worth out of using Mondu, to be honest. So it's really good.
That's cool. That's again, really good feedback. I'm happy to hear that.
How often do you guys update your product catalog? You said there's over over 10,000 brands now. How often does that update?
Well, it's because we're integrated live with all of our suppliers' catalogs, so by API. So it's refreshing every, I think, 15 to 30 minutes. So it's basically constantly refreshing, and anytime a supplier gets more stock or lists more stock on Qogita, the prices will change. Anytime you press place order to pay for like goods, that stock will obviously be reserved on our end. And maybe like a really important point to note for anyone new is, and it's part of Wholesale, is that just just when the stock, because the stock is live on the supplier stock list, doesn't mean by the time that when you pay for the order, sometimes you can get unlucky and someone will have purchased it through another channel. So just say we're working with, over 200 million pound wholesalers who have, got 1,000 of this perfume, and they're listing it through, like they're selling it to Notino or, some other channels. And then maybe, so you go in to buy 500, and then they sent out their stock list maybe that morning to Qogita and then to these their other buyers, and someone else has purchased that morning, purchased all 1,000, and then obviously there's a huge number. I know that's not really relevant for many, but then you come in and you want to purchase 400, and then they're gone. And so basically the order will get cancelled and you'll be refunded. But that can be a frustrating process. And yeah, just the reason why it happens is in wholesale, like nothing's ever 100% live. We try and work as much as we possibly can to integrate as closely as we can to get data that is basically live to like half an hour, so the chances of it happening are lower. But there are some suppliers that there is more of a delay in updating their stock, and so there is a couple of occasions where your order might be cancelled, or if just say that in that example before, you wanted 500 and they'd sold 600 of the 1,000, so they had 400 left, then they would send 400 instead of 500. So that's called partial fulfillment. That can be frustrating or confusing if you are new to wholesale, but it is kind of part of the ecosystem, but it is something we also do look to improve. So if you feel hard done by and you've been you've had a few cancellations in a row, you should always reach out to someone, because we will take that feedback. We have a team called Supply Success that work with our wholesalers and distributors to make sure their stock lists are as live as possible, and they can basically push them to try and improve their system and their integrations.
The first distributor I got a relationship with when I first started, and I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't realize wholesalers and distributors list their prices without VAT. So I got this list and I was like, I'm going to be a millionaire. It's going to be amazing. And I realized I did not have the capital for that kind of claim.
Because that's another thing, like these prices are without VAT. The thing is, if you're in Europe and then you say you're in Germany and you purchase from a supplier outside of Germany, like in Spain or something, because that's an international transaction, then you don't have to pay the VAT. So I guess that's obviously a huge advantage if you do that in international transactions. So some people who are sourcing in Europe will select to not source from any suppliers in their country. So when they purchase, it's like a cross-border transaction. But in the UK, obviously there's import VAT when you're importing from Europe, and then there's local VAT when you're buying from suppliers in the UK. So it is unfortunate.
Unfortunate part of being British, unfortunately. Okay, I think, to be honest, you've covered a lot of the questions I wanted to ask. You did mention at some point in the call that you guys have a pretty good vetting process for authenticity. Can you just highlight where people would see that if they wanted to look into that?
Yeah, so down here, we have a supplier verification page, which basically just runs through what we do in terms of any supplier that is onboarded, where there's initial checks to make sure that they're that we understand their operations, the key decision makers, the financials. There's like meetings, like identification, like warehouse photos, these kinds of things to make sure that they're and like checks in like their company's history, that they're registered businesses, established, got a history of proper business operations, basically. Then we do like site visits to basically check that everything is functioning, and like this is established supplier who we think is going to be a good partner. Then when we onboard their stock list, we check it. We have we've built internal tools to fetch their data and to analyze all the prices and the GTINs for the product data accuracy, because that's another place where things can go wrong if the GTIN says it's one thing, but then the product that they send is the wrong version, even a subtle variation like the wrong mills, then on Amazon, then that all the issues that can happen with that. So product data is really important for those reasons, but also, and in those cases, if the supplier is at fault, then people can submit a claim for them sending the wrong item. But we can identify if any price looks unreasonably low or funky. I think you can sense any supplier that's not legitimate just by analyzing their entire price list, because we can compare it to basically all the data we have on what is like a realistic price. So that's another point just for any new people who want to place an order. Always double check the GTIN, like the unique barcode for any product, to make sure, which is this number here, to make sure you're getting this product. Because if it's a different product, then that code is a unique identifier for this product, so you will know that you're getting what you're ordering, basically. Whereas if just say the photo is wrong, because we say all the pictures we get here are from Amazon, but sometimes sometimes there are issues on Amazon's end where I don't want to get into it. So, but just always double check the GTIN to make sure the product is what you're ordering.
That was actually going to be one of my questions. I always advise people to be cautious of the images and go by GTIN. So it's good to have you confirm that we do have to be careful of images.
Yeah, 100%. But then, just back to this. This is important too, that we make sure that the stock is sitting on the floor and ready to go. We don't work with drop shippers because we need because we value kind of products being sent quickly, and I think that's the main reason. Drop shippers can maybe be more dodgy as well. And then we also have a probation period where basically any new supplier, we closely monitor their orders to make sure that they're fulfilling them and meeting our service standards, everything runs smoothly. And then there's this ongoing supply success teams that they're basically account managers for the suppliers that feedback how they're doing performance-wise, try and then try and optimize their performance, try and help them make more money by selling on Qogita, pass on where they need to improve their service, if their stock lists aren't integrating fast enough, if the way they're packing is means that there's problems with the logistics couriers, all these kinds of things. That's kind of what we do with any new suppliers.
We had when we had the last call with Qogita with Charlie, I think it was, someone in the comments said that you guys were just another drop shipping company, and I was thinking that's not quite how this model works. You're more similar to a marketplace like Amazon, aren't you, rather than just being a middleman, because you do all the vets and checks, you do the negotiation of prices and everything.
Yeah, and then also because I feel like drop shipping is kind of also more B2C, I guess. But we are very much deal with the service, and I was actually doing some research because we have made these improvements to kind of our invoicing documentation, and in terms of explaining to Amazon that we're not a drop shipper. And I think the fact that that it's all B2B, and that our suppliers, range from hundreds of million to billion in turnover. Buyers take possession. I think more or less, it's a marketplace, not like a drop shipping organization as such.
It is crazy to me that a company your size is still struggling to have a contact at Amazon where you can just be like, hey, accept our invoices because we're legit. It's crazy that that's not a thing, because they must get so much business from you. Well, not from you directly, although I'm sure you'd be happy with that, but from Qogita in general.
Yeah, it is silly. It's what are they trying to achieve? Because was when we spoke to this other guy from Amazon Marketplaces, he was basically of the opinion that our invoices look completely legitimate and couldn't understand the problems, but then obviously did understand the problems. Part of the service he provides is issue resolution when inevitably people get stuck. Yeah.
This is what happens when an organization gets massive and the bureaucracy gets huge as well, isn't it? It just becomes very hard to manage, I suppose.
Yeah, indeed.
Cal, are we promising
Yes.
anything nice?
Let's give it a go. I mean, it's an old deployment that I just set up just because we're doing loads of back end stuff on the current one. There is a lot of dummy data on it, and my computer is a bit.
I think
I was going to say,
Cal, like he's in the same room with the same dodgy Wi-Fi.
Yeah, so Cal's laptop froze just now, which is why his face froze. So I'm not sure him sharing a screen is going to work, but we'll find out. Are you still there, mate? Okay, I don't think that's going to happen on this call. Next time. We keep promising it. I swear it's coming soon. It's harder to build this stuff than you'd think. Okay, Cal, I think he's not going to be able to share at this call. Guys, anyone have any more questions before we wrap up the call? Anyone? I've got a question here. Okay, yeah, Cal's laptop just froze, so that was a good way to end it, I would say. Well, Charlie, I really appreciate your time coming today. Thank you.
No worries. It's always good to connect with the communities that we've been working with, especially for a long time, and and I guess just spread the word that that Qogita is here for the buyers. If anybody has any trouble, we'll do our best to make it right, and hopefully you can, if you haven't already, you can join us, come back to us, or just spend more with us, because it's a really exciting time to be in the wholesale space, and in Q4 in particular.
For sure. So to anyone watching, as I said earlier, if you haven't bought from Qogita before, or you haven't signed up, you can use the link in our bio. You don't have to enter code SellerSmart100, but if you've already signed up with a link and haven't bought anything yet, you can. And you get €100 off your first order, which I don't have to tell you makes the ROIs pretty tasty. I'm going to do a Qogita sourcing video that will go live on YouTube probably this week. The only reason I've been delayed on that is because, oh man, Charlie, I didn't tell you this. I recorded the same Qogita sourcing video 10 times. There was 45 minutes every time, but my mic kept crapping out and it wouldn't work. Yeah, so I've actually fixed that issue. So I'll do a sourcing video that will come out this week. And if anyone has any questions, just let us know in the Discord community. Charlie, thank you again for coming, mate. It's a pleasure.
No worries. Thanks for having me, Sean. And yeah, thanks people for watching.
Cool. All right.